Hello! Welcome back to the library. Licensed games have a reputation in the gaming industry. They're either quick cash grabs with horrible outcomes, or they're quick cash grabs that turn out pretty darn well. Disney, Sony, and several of their publishing partners seem to have found magic most of the time in the PlayStation era, with Disney's Atlantis proving the point. Based on the 2001 animated film, Disney's Atlantis: The Lost Empire was released the same week as the film hit theaters, being an easy tie-in purchase for folks whose theater happened to be next to a game store. Players take control of the lead character and linguist Milo Thatch, who can read the Atlantean language. He convinces a millionaire to fund an expedition to find the lost city, but must join the crew in return. This leads to a ragtag group of characters in-game, which uses their in-film expertise as puzzle elements in the levels. Milo is the main character, whose athletic abilities allow him to climb, throw a boomerang, and handle most of the heavy workload. Kita, the Atlantean of the group, follows suit but with a staff and better jumping abilities, but trades out moving heavy items for being able to walk among guards freely. Vinny, Audrey, and Mole all have their skills, but they're too often used only in one-off situations. Developers Eurocom went with the appropriate adventure angle route, with a small twist. Rather than have players run through the stages in order, the level selection screen acts as a world hub. One stage will take players to two separate elemental trial stages, requiring them to return to that previous stage with the gems they uncover. A second stage ends in different branches, requiring several returns to acquire all the collectibles in the game. We'll get to those in a bit. Getting back to the game, there is an amazing amount of variety to be had. The training mission sees Milo talking to Mr. Whitmore, filling in as your instructor. After learning the ropes of controls and acquiring your boomerang and compass, it's off to find Atlantis. After a brief movie clip, the game starts with the Leviathan attack on the Elysia ship. Players will bounce between Milo reaching locations and Audrey repairing them. It's a genius first level as it introduces most of the gameplay mechanics, including swimming, in one easy process. Once everyone is safely off the ship, it's the game's only real boss fight until the end of the game. Fending off the Leviathan is easy, but from there, it's a mad dash to reach the next area. Here's where the first of several racing stages appear. Players will dodge, weave, and fend off attackers in an auto-scrolling stage before finally arriving at the Cove. This is where the game's first split happens. The Cove is a hub that branches off into the fire and ice trials. Each of these trials requires obtaining an elemental gem at the end of each trial and bringing both of them back to the Cove. Once in place, the final run to the Cove can be accomplished. Reaching the end will bring you to the next racing sequence, escaping in the truck. If I'm being honest, this is where the game falls apart for a moment or two. The truck stage is a trial unto itself because the players must keep track of 4 dangers all at once. First, collect gas cans so they don't run out of fuel. Second, the truck's health as it takes damage from debris and other hazards. 3, not falling off the edge, or worse, being pushed off of it by various hazards. And finally, the controls. The controls seem to freak out when there's clipping elements involved, especially if the truck hits the path edge and the game can't decide if you're on or off. Be prepared to play this sequence quite a few times. Once that chaos is over, I only have a few minor quibbles in the next 2 stages, specifically with the respawn points. Checkpoints are little radios spread out around the areas where you can save your progress, swap to available characters to solve puzzles, and where you respawn if you die. Several radios are set too far from puzzle elements that can kill you or reset your position. One stage has a sequence that requires a precise jump to snag one of the collectibles, and in having to repeat that sequence several times if you miss, at least 10 minutes were required just to run back to the spot. It got extremely frustrating, especially after the truck driving fiasco. That said, once you finally make it past these 2 stages, the game recovers yet refines itself into an extremely fun experience. Levels are tighter, puzzles are more baked into the course rather than being in the way of a goal. The adjustments make collectibles fun again, where you don't mind going back to previous stages to clean up any still lying around. As players close in on the game's final moments, it's full speed ahead in the final flying sequence and then to the game's second and third boss battles. The flying sequence strips out the gas tanks and allows focus on the shooting, health, and collectibles. It's fast, fun, and when the time comes for the 2 final confrontations, nails the landing. During the Helga battle, you need to give her a target and then dash out of the way so that her shots hit the engine blocks. Once done, the final confrontation with Rourke takes place with a little help from Kita and a stroke of genius in level design. On every level, there are 3 sets of collectibles. White crystals that help you generate extra lives, letters that spell out Atlantis, which then unlock the stage's movie clip, and then the green crystal. Collecting every green crystal unlocks the model viewer and concept art as rewards once you finish the game. Against the battle with Rourke, the Atlantean letters and green crystal randomly appear while you are dodging his attacks and setting up your counteroffensive. Where the multitasking in the truck stage was infuriating, in the boss battle, it's invigorating. The simple act turns the entire event into a survival mode and a one-off event. I almost began taunting the game as I kept weaving through the flames, grabbing the letters and tripping up my nemesis. It was almost a catharsis, a word I don't often use in video game reviews. With the game complete, the player can watch the ending sequence and game credits. If players miss any collectibles, they'll need to replay the entire level again with everything but the acquired trinkets reset. From a visual and sound perspective, Atlantis has everything figured out. There are enough voice samples to make each character feel unique, with a wonderful, if oddly subdued musical score that keeps pace with the game. Visually, the game is super clean with cute little touches here and there. Outdoor stages are vibrant, indoor stages are darker and slightly foreboding. One stage used Audrey's flares as your only light source in the dark, making every step a tactical decision. In the secret swim stage, level designers use plant life on one side of the screen, which allows you an easy identifier if you're accidentally backtracking. Characters are all nicely detailed, and bountiful life is to be found in the enemy selection. If there's one place where the game fell short, it's the power-ups. This may only be because I'm an adult playing the game, so perhaps a younger mind may have needed them. 3 colored gems can be collected, and combining them with Milo's boomerang or Kita's staff grants them extra powers or strength enhancements. If they're applied to Milo's compass, the compass will point you to various collectibles. I liked how the letters were always arranged in order, so if you picked one up out of sequence, you knew you had to retreat to a specific spot to look for it. Eurocom did a wonderful job, and I am shocked at how much I enjoyed the game, even with the small frustrations. The lack of boss fights doesn't hurt the process either, allowing the gamer to enjoy the exploration. I went back to complete all the collectible quests, which are worth it for the concept art and model viewer. It's a success story where the sum is greater than the parts. On the review scale, it's a great 8 out of 10. It's a game where you feel accomplished completing it and can look past its flaws. Take it for a swim. You won't be disappointed. Just watch out for the Leviathan. And the clipping. Take care, you guys. I'll see you next episode.